And welcome to Check Please, the show regular people from all over Chicago recommend and review their favorite restaurants. So this is how the show works. Every week we have 3 guests. Each recommends his or her favorite spot, and the other 2 go to check them out to see what they think. This week, finance executive Jeff Carlson says if you haven't checked out one of Chicago's many food halls, you should. He says he knows which one gets you the best variety and bang for your buck in town. But therapist Sean Sorluco says, sure, food halls are the latest thing, but he thinks the old school classics are always in style. He says for a delightful night on the town, meet him at his neighborhood gem. But up first, visual arts teacher Adrienne Tamboni sees what the other guests are saying, but she prefers something a little different. She says if you're looking for the ultimate Korean barbecue experience, head on over to California Avenue and stop in at Gogi.
This is like my second home, so I want to treat them like my visitor for my home. Gogi means meat, could be beef, pork, poultry, traditional Korean barbecue. As soon as you walk in, you can smell the charcoal. Charcoal grills, we use lump charcoal and bring it inside a pot and put it on the table. Then you actually have to cook. Either you cook or we help you cook. People used to do like fusion, but I don't think that era is gone. A lot of good foodies, they know about the food. They want the real food, Korean food, just like back in Korea where my mom and dad would serve us. I want the tradition of Korean food. I prefer being authentic.
So Adrienne, Gogi is your go-to restaurant. Tell us why you chose it.
Out of all of the Korean restaurants in Chicago, I find that this is the most authentic. I lived in Korea for 3 years, and I would say at least once a week, we went to a Korean barbecue restaurant. It is part of living in Korea. You do it at least once a week. And so I feel like I kind of have my Korean barbecue skills down. I know what to look for, really.
So you said there's so many Korean restaurants in Chicago, but what makes Gogi stand out from the rest?
I think it's the quality of the meat that it serves, I think is the best that I have seen. But not only that, it serves samgyeopsal, which is a pork belly, to perfection. It is always cut like a ½ an inch thick, which is what it should be cut at. And at the end of your meal, they provide you, if you ask, for bokkeumbap, where they fry the rice with all these other goodies right on the plate. And that's key, I think, to Korean barbecue. Wow.
And I also believe what sets this place apart is the live charcoal fire, which is what inspired the owners to open this, because there weren't a lot of live charcoal places.
Exactly.
There's so much pressure being charged with the grill. I've been in Korea before, and I like to say that I am proficient enough to serve my friends during Korean barbecue, but I found out really fast that I really was not. I mean, the person that I went with, he was like, "You're gonna burn it," and then the woman came over, she's like, "You're gonna burn it," and I was just like, "Oh, okay." And then, but it was really nice because they came over, they changed the charcoal, and they changed the gas grill for you, so it was really nice.
Well, I was completely new to Korean barbecue, and the staff was so helpful. Our server came over and like helped us, through the menu. We ordered the spicy pork, the marinated beef, the kimchi pancake, which is humongous, and it was very, very good.
That thing was huge. It was like almost the size of half of our table. Like the table spaces were huge there, so I mean, you have to accommodate all the Korean sides that come with the Korean barbecue. I got the seafood pancake, same exact thing, huge portions. I remember we ordered 3 appetizers, and the waitress, she kind of looked at us like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah,
it was only like me and my buddy. Yeah. And I was like, maybe we should dub it down a little bit. So we ordered just the seafood pancake, and then we got 2 sides of meats.
So Adrienne, as the expert at the table, take us through, if you're going to Gogi, how should we order? What should we order?
So this is my go-to when I go to Gogi. I start off, we get some mekju, which is the beer, and I prefer their obi. I always get a bottle of soju, and then we order the kimchi jan or the haemul pajan. The kimchi jan is the kimchi pancake. Hemopajan is the seafood pancake. And then while we're diving into that, I press the button, they come back over, and I always order 2 orders of galbi if I have 6 to 7 people, and then I get the samgyeopsal for the end, which is the pork belly. And then we have the Korean fried rice at the end, which is key.
I went with my husband and a friend from work, and we still got a ton of sides. There was so much food on the table, and we were totally full by the time dessert would be ordered, but we were like, let's go for it, and we ordered the fried green tea ice cream, which was incredible. And you got so much ice cream for whatever it cost. It was an incredible value.
Do you feel the service made the difference at Gogi?
Absolutely. This was my first time really diving into Korean barbecue, and I would have been lost without the server. They were wonderful. They grilled our meats for us. They helped guide our selections. They were just very, very friendly and great.
So Adrienne, what does the live fire contribute that the electric grills can't?
It's the flavor. It just really brings out the natural juices, but the mixture of the charcoal is by far the best experience, I think, in regards to eating meat. I mean, I'm not even a big meat eater, but when I started eating Korean barbecue, I'm like, I get it now. I get it.
I
get why.
Having the grill on the table too just made it so much more engaging and made it more of an experience.
It's interactive and communal, especially if you're dining with friends, and then you can kind of, rib each other.
Exactly.
Like, hey, you're burning my meat over there. Let's talk about soju, which is a distilled spirit. It's the national drink of Korea, and also it's made in Japan. But it's similar to vodka, but you can really kind of mix it with anything.
Yeah, I mean, when the owner sat down with us, he was mixing his soju with his beer, and I looked at him. I was like, I've never thought of that before. Maybe I should start doing that.
That's actually called somek. So it's soju and then mekju. You put it together. It's called somek.
Yes.
It's huge there in Korea.
You began with the soju, right?
Oh yeah.
So we say, but first soju.
First soju.
Yes.
All right, Adrienne, you pick Gogi. Sum it up for us.
I would say if you're looking for a friendly, casual restaurant to enjoy a great experience of Korean barbecue, Gogi is the place.
Sean?
I would say whether you're new to Korean barbecue or whether you've enjoyed it your whole life, Gogi will become a staple for you.
And Jeff?
Gogi is a place that you want to take your friends, enjoy Korean barbecue. You can become the grill master, and it's great.
Well, you can try the many meats and more at Gogi, 6240 North California Avenue, 773-274-6669. They're open daily for dinner. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $25. Chicago is known for unique restaurants, but the new trend gathers a group of spots all in one place. Jeff Carlson says if you're looking for lunch on the go or a hip happy hour, make your way to the Loop because Revival Food Hall has it all.
Revival means to like a resurgence or to make a space active again. This building is 111 years old. Daniel Burnham building, so it's a historical landmark within the city. So we just wanted to activate it first and foremost as kind of a nod to him, but also bring a little bit more life to the Loop. Well, Chicago's a city of neighborhoods. What we're trying to do is cultivate a community that will bring in the best flavors of each neighborhood, the best chefs, more importantly, of each neighborhood. Strictly Chicago-driven food hall here. Someone should expect food that's familiar to them or something that might bring them a little bit out of their comfort zone. We're okay with that too. All you need to know is everything's made in-house. That's the most important part. The people joining us here every day are looking for an elevated experience. Even though it's fast casual, they're looking for fresh produce, local produce, and the highest cuts of meat, and we bring that to them here every day. A little bit of something for everyone here.
So Jeff, you said that Revival Food Hall is a one-stop shop. Tell us why you chose it.
Yeah, for sure. So Revival Food Hall is a one-stop shop. It's got the new trend of fast casual, especially for anybody that works in the Loop.
Which you do.
Which I do. It's in the historical business financial district of Chicago. It kind of takes the neighborhood restaurants and brings it to you in downtown Chicago.
Now, my question is, how do you decide amongst 15 restaurants what you're going to eat?
That's a really good question. It's depending on what you're craving that day. If you're craving ramen, you're craving something healthy, they have pretty much any cuisine that you are looking for that day.
But they have the independent operators, so
Yes.
ramen would be Furious Spoon. And then if you want chicken, it's Bud Long. If you want desserts, it's Mindy Siegel. I don't like to use the term concessions, but it's kind of like that, I guess.
Yeah, they call them walk-up counters. So you can actually walk up to the counter. You can order, it's step by step, step 1, 2, 3, but it makes it super simple. You order your food there at the counter, and then you can actually have a spot on the counter if you want to eat there, or you can get a buzzer, and they will actually bring, and then you can sit at your communal tables, and then you can meet your buddies or whoever you're with that day.
So I actually went during the evening time around 5 o'clock on a Friday. I kind of sampled from a bunch of different places. So I was really craving, I saw Bud Long, I'm like, I've always wanted to go there. So we grabbed a sandwich from Bud Long. And then I saw the smoke barbecue, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've been wanting to go to smoke barbecue for over a year. So I grabbed something from there. And then we went over to the Pub Royale, so we ordered something from there. And then we're like, we need something sweet, so we went over to Mindy's. So, I mean, you can mix and match your meals there, for sure.
So I went for dinner as well on a Wednesday night, I believe. I went to Brown Bag Seafood Company because I hadn't been there before. I had the catch of the day and their clam chowder as well. The chowder was really, really good. After we ordered our food, we went to the bar to grab a bottle of wine before happy hour was over, had a really great bottle of Vino Verde, and then went and sat down for our meal. It was a fair portion size. It just wasn't like a meal that I would crave to have again. Mm-hmm. And you know, I kind of had a mixed experience. I was kind of like blown away by the sound of the DJ.
That's the first thing that you walk in. There's a DJ booth right there.
There's a DJ, I think, every single night. Just kind of seemed unnecessary, just given that like everyone was there for the happy hour. Clearly, I was one of the only people there for dinner.
Yeah.
And it's just like concrete everywhere, and like the style was really cool. The decor was great, but it just seemed like the music was unnecessarily loud, given that dinner stops being served at 7 and the bar closes at 9. Mm-hmm. Just it seemed like a River North place,
well,
not so much the Loop.
Do you think maybe they're trying to, you know, because the Loop kind of empties out afterwards,
right.
you know, after work. So maybe they're trying to like create an energy and a vibe to get people to come there destination-wise.
Yeah, especially for anybody that's just getting out of work and they want to get a quick bite, or they want to just do the happy hour and get a quick drink before they catch the train to go home.
Because Adrian, you went in the evening too.
So I actually really enjoyed my experience. There was a DJ, but it wasn't too loud.
Okay.
And they had tables with extra large Jenga and Connect 4. They had bags, and I thought it was a great way to kind of end your evening before going home, especially unwinding on a Friday night.
I can imagine lunch being a super popular attraction, but maybe a little bit more difficult to get people to come in the evening. So perhaps you're trying to have these attractions like, hey, come hang out with us after work.
And I think it kind of takes the stuffiness out of the financial business district of Chicago. They're making it fun again.
Now, I've been to the majority of those restaurants at their standalone spaces, and I've really enjoyed every single space that I've tried. I guess I'm wondering if you feel like maybe at Revival, if it's kind of like a watered down version.
I will actually agree. I think it's like cantina style. It's quick. And maybe it's not in its complete element, and it might take away from some of that the flavor. I don't know.
So Adrian, who would you recommend the Revival Food Hall experience to?
Definitely for people who are downtown, who work in the financial district. But I also think it's a great place to maybe take your family or to take your friends, especially if you can't make that decision about where to eat. And it gives you the opportunity to try some cool, hip restaurants that you can't always get to, especially if you don't have a car.
Now, the decor of Revival Food Hall, I feel, is a standout feature. I mean, it's very modern, and Sean, how would you describe the space?
Yeah, I would say it almost feels like a cool loft space. There's a lot of concrete, a lot of open space. Yeah, absolutely. It has a cool vibe and cool energy to it.
All right, Jeff, you recommended Revival Food Hall. Sum it up for us.
So Revival Food Hall is the new food court reinvented. It's fast casual. It's a great spot if you want to go with your friends or anybody, co-workers during lunch or even after work. So it's a great spot. I recommend it, so try it.
All right. Sean?
Yeah, I would describe it as an upscale food court, and I'd recommend it for people who live or work in the Loop, but otherwise I might recommend trying the standalone restaurants for those vendors.
And Adrian?
I recommend it for its variety and the food choices, but also that you get to try the hip, trendy restaurants in Chicago all under one roof.
All right, well, you can visit the hall for yourself at Revival Food Hall, 125 South Clark Street, 773-999-9411. The restaurants are open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and the bar closes at 9 p.m. Reservations are not accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $20. Check Please is no stranger to Italian restaurants, but Sean Sorluco says his charming choice brings a modern twist to an old school classic. For a marvelous martini in a supper club setting, head on over to Bucktown and join him at Club Lucky.
Club Lucky was around in the late 40s, early 50s. It was a old Polish bar. When I took it over, I loved the name, Club Lucky. It's the original neon sign on the place. It was a supper club concept, so it made sense to keep the name and keep the tradition alive. And
we've embraced it ever since.
We've embraced it ever since, yes.
Club Lucky style is home style, American Italian, big plate, comfort food.
We're known for our killer martinis here, so it's very satisfying just to see people smiling and enjoying. When you come to the corner of Wabandy and Honore, you feel like you really found something special, an old Chicago corner restaurant.
We often say that we're a jewel in the crown of Bucktown, and we like being where we're at, a little off the beaten path. We are on our third generation of guests.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot of regulars, a lot of generations of regulars.
So Sean, you say that Club Lucky is both delicious and fun. Tell us why you chose it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Club Lucky is one of my favorites. It is the quintessential hidden gem within the Chicago neighborhood food scene, and you know, it has a beautiful charm and decor to it. It has a retro feel. It really reminds you of that 1940s supper club feel. And it has a really unique history as well. The restaurant Club Lucky has been around since 1990, but it's kind of taken on a few different forms over the years, actually starting in the 1930s. I'm a huge fan of their classic Italian staples that are comfort foods.
So the bar is an exact replica of how it was in the 1930s, but my favorite piece of trivia about Club Lucky is it actually operated as speakeasy. In the back, they served martinis, but in the front, it was a hardware store.
Yes, yes. Speaking of their martinis, so I enjoy dirty martinis, and I love Club Lucky because they actually deliver on their dirty martinis. They do. You had one as well?
For some reason, when I got there, I wanted a dirty martini.
Yeah.
And I never get a dirty martini, and it was delicious.
All right, so Adrian, being first generation Italian, how was your experience?
For me, it was more on the red sauce joint side of the Italian fare. So it was more American Italian cuisine. But I was actually fairly impressed that a lot of the pasta dishes were actually made with homemade pasta, which you don't always see at these red sauce joints. So I really like that component. I was really impressed with my 8-finger cavatelli.
We ordered a couple appetizers, caprese salad, And then we also had the baked artichoke. The breaded baked artichoke was phenomenal. And then I ordered shrimp scampi. A couple of my other guests ordered a couple pasta dishes. I thought the dishes were really good. I thought they were traditional. I mean, I'm not Italian by any means, but
Italian American, right?
Yeah, Italian.
Like Chicago Italian.
It's like a very Chicago Italian. It's a little bit heavier.
I agree with you. I think it's more like American Italian. There is a lot of red sauce, a lot of cheese, but that just so happens to be what I'm looking for.
Sure, yeah.
And that's kind of what I grew up enjoying and eating as well. And so I like to order things that I don't want to make at home or can't make at home. And so therefore I almost always get the lasagna there because it's a pain to cook.
Right.
The chicken Vesuvio is a specialty of theirs as well, which is really tasty.
Chicken Vesuvio, invented in Chicago.
Yes, it is a Chicago dish. Yep.
All right. Any other favorites?
The calamari is great, and I love that they have 3 different options of calamari. They have fried, grilled, and then calabrese, which is my favorite one. It's just lightly breaded. They have some pepper on it, or some peppers included, and it just has the perfect amount of spice. The cannolis are incredible there. I don't know if you guys tried dessert.
insane.
I actually had their tiramisu, and I thought it was hands down the best dish of the night. I mean, it was legit.
I tried the ginger carrot cake. I thought that was really, really phenomenal. I tried the cannolis as well, but it was delicious.
So Jeff, you went for dinner, prime time, Friday, 7 p.m. with another couple. What was the atmosphere like?
It was just hustling, bustling. I mean, families were there, couples were there, friends were there. It really was a happening neighborhood spot.
It's definitely very lively.
So Jeff, how was your service?
The service itself, just at the beginning, I felt that server was kind of rushing
That
us.
makes me sad to hear because I think that one of its greatest charms is the space and the environment there and just the ambiance. So I would hate for anyone to feel rushed because I love soaking in all of the just infectious energy.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as like a negative thing. I think that they are just like no nonsense service.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't know, I think they did a really nice job. I think they just wanted to move along the food process, but I can see why you would be rushed.
Yeah, we were kind of like horsing at our dinner that night. We had, we had starter drinks, and then we had a bottle of wine at the for our dinner. And we ordered a good amount of appetizers, a good amount of entrees.
You did it right.
Yeah, I mean, we did it Italian style, you know?
So Sean, the ambiance of Club Lucky is such an important element of the experience.
Definitely.
I mean, it really feels like Frank Sinatra's going to come walking out at any moment.
Yeah. It feels like you've been really transported to, the 1940s or 50s. The retro decor has so much charm there. You walk in and there's a jukebox immediately to your left. You just know that there have been the same patrons going there year after year after year, but then you also see a pretty diverse group of people showing up. So,
all right, Sean, you chose Club Lucky. Sum it up for us.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a restaurant that has a lot of charm, serves up some, classic Italian American dishes, and you're just ready to have a good time and a couple of good martinis, choose Club Lucky.
Jeff?
Yeah, it's nice to see a restaurant that's well established and has been there for many years, and there's a reason why. Just great food, great ambiance, and great place.
And Adrian?
I think if you're looking for that, traditional American Italian red sauce joint, supper club style, I think Club Lucky does it perfectly.
All right, well, you can taste the cannolis and much more at Club Lucky, 1824 West Wabansia Avenue, 773-227-2300. They're open for dinner daily and lunch Monday through Friday. Reservations are accepted, and the average tab per person without drinks is $24. So on this week's show, we featured Gogi in West Rogers Park, Revival Food Hall in the Loop, and Club Lucky in Bucktown. Let's recap what our guests had to say. First, we made our way to California Avenue and visited Gogi. Adrian recommends it for the most authentic Korean barbecue experience in the city. Jeff loved the portion sizes and the hospitable service. Sean appreciated the helpful staff and thought it was an incredible value. Next, we cruised down Clark and sat down at Revival Food Hall. Jeff recommends the one-stop shop for its variety of local fast casual restaurants. Adrian loved having the ability to sample foods from around the city all in one place. Sean felt the food was a watered-down version of usually great restaurant fare. Lastly, we went to Wabansia and dined at Club Lucky. Sean recommends it for being a retro gem with delicious Italian classics. Jeff loved all of the food and the lively neighborhood feel. Adrian thought it was more Chicago Italian cuisine, but was impressed by the homemade pastas. We've had just a wonderful time this week, and I'd like to thank my guests, Adrian Tamboni, Jeff Carlson, and Sean Serluco. Join us next week for 3 new guests recommending 3 of their favorite restaurants right here on Check Please. I'm Alpina Singh, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers.
For more information about the restaurants featured on Check Please, go to WTTW.com/checkplease.